Sagittarius. Unimaginably dangerous. Sagittarius doesn't die. They make others fall into hell. Sagittarius, the wanderer between heaven and hell. The one who sows the seeds of universal truth. There are people who are not born to stay in safe zones. They come into this world carrying memories from distant stars, places where their souls once vowed to return and awaken. Under the influence of Jupiter, the planet of truth and destiny, they carry a fire. Not only to illuminate the path, but also to burn down what no longer serves the truth. Have you ever felt like you didn't belong to this world in the usual way? That something different is quietly awakening inside you? If you are a Sagittarius, or if you've walked through a challenging journey with this sign in your birth chart, then stop and listen. Because this is not just a message, it is a calling from the universe. There is a truth not many dare to face. Sagittarius is not only a symbol of light and freedom. They are also the embodiment of sacred danger. Immortal souls walking through divine fire and fierce truth, forcing others to face the inner hell within themselves. But don't be afraid too soon. Because right in that darkness, you will find the door leading to your most radiant destiny. This video is not for everyone, only for those who dare to look straight into the eyes of a Sagittarius and declare, I am ready to step into my indestructible destiny. If you are hearing this and feel your heart trembling, that is not a coincidence. That is the resonance of your soul with the universe's calling. Comment right now. I am ready to embrace my eternal destiny. Because when you affirm this, you are not only opening a new door for yourself. You are connecting with the deepest layer of your soul mission, the very reason you were born. If you feel this message resonates with you, hit like and share this video. Because somewhere out there, someone might need your light to find themselves again. And don't go away, because the next truths will help you realize. Sagittarius does not die. They only reincarnate, stronger, more dangerous, and leading the world out of its invisible chains. There are people who are not born to stay in safe zones. They come into this world with a fire in their hearts, the fire of truth, of faith, and of unending motion. They are Sagittarius. But don't rush to think that these people live just to explore, to dream, or to roam among roads. Because behind their radiant smile and blazing eyes lies a spiritual depth that very few have the strength to touch. Sagittarius are the wanderers between heaven and hell, both a guide and a test for anyone brave enough to walk beside them. I still remember the first time I met a Sagittarius. She didn't just enter the room. She lit up the entire space. But what impressed me wasn't her smile. It was her gaze, a gaze that made you feel like she saw right through everything you were hiding. That is what makes Sagittarius dangerous. They don't need words to strip you bare. They don't need to force anyone to change. They just need to be present, and all falsehood naturally collapses. Sagittarius people are not merely a fire sign governed by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, belief, and higher learning. They are the bridge between life and spiritual death. They carry the energy of ancient prophets, of nomads who bring eternal truth, and the sweet ruthlessness of those who are willing to push you out of the cage you thought was home. In the journey of life, Sagittarius often appears at turning points, when you are stuck in a toxic relationship, a blind belief system, or simply living a life that isn't truly yours. And they don't come to comfort. They come to break everything apart. You will resent them. You will be hurt. You will think they are heartless. But time will show you, they are the ones who opened a door you would never dare step through without that push. I once heard someone say, Sagittarius made me fall into hell. But what that person didn't realize is, it wasn't a hell created by Sagittarius, it was a hell that had always existed within him. And the light of Sagittarius simply shone upon that exact place. The light they bring is not meant to make you comfortable. It is the light of truth, and truth is always painful. especially when it clashes with the ego. The greatest lesson I've learned from Sagittarius is this. Truth never walks hand in hand with comfort. But it always leads to freedom. Sagittarius may destroy the things you thought were certain. But they never destroy anything that truly belongs to you. They force you to question, to shed your skin, to be reborn. And in that process, you are the one who becomes dangerous, in the best sense of the word. People born under the sign of Sagittarius rarely live ordinary lives. They are drawn into great journeys, powerful transformations, both geographical and spiritual. They study deeply, experience broadly, and most importantly, they understand humanity. Not through logical analysis, but through intuitive sensing. A Sagittarius can meet you for 5 minutes and touch the deepest wound you've forgotten you carry. And then, somehow, they say something that brings you to tears, not out of sadness, but because for the first time, you feel truly seen. There is a famous saying. The healer is often mistaken for the one who causes pain. Sagittarius is exactly that kind of person. They are not gentle. They are not sweet. But they are the powerful medicine your soul needs, especially when you have been asleep for too long in the illusion of pretending. Try to think back. Have you ever met a Sagittarius, and afterward your life was never the same? Have they ever said something that made you think again and again for years? Or have they ever left, and only after they were gone did you realize what you had learned? They are angels with scorched wings, because they fly too close to the sun of truth. And because of that, they bring back messages from the deepest layers of the soul. They are not gentle guides, but they are always real. If you are watching this video and feel that you were once hurt by a Sagittarius, comment. I have understood my lesson. Because in the moment you admit it, you are no longer a victim, you become a learner. Someone who grows, and someone who opens a new level of awareness. The world needs more people like Sagittarius, not because they are easy to love, but because they are honest. In an era where falseness is becoming the norm, where edited images replace the truth, a straightforward sentence, an honest look becomes something that saves the soul. Sagittarius comes to remind us of that. And do you know the most miraculous thing? Every time a Sagittarius makes you fall into hell, they also step into it with you. They do not stand outside. They are not arrogant. They walk alongside you. They go into the deepest layers of human emotion, not because they enjoy suffering, but because they believe you are worthy of awakening. That is the greatest form of love one soul can give to another. If you are a Sagittarius listening to this, please remember. Do not shrink your light just because the world is not ready to receive it. Do not stop speaking the truth just because you fear hurting someone. Keep going. Keep leading. Keep living as radiantly as you were born to. Because you are the living symbol of what we need more than ever. The courage to be real, and the faith that truth sets us free. And if you are waiting for a sign to step out of your comfort zone, to break the invisible chains, then maybe this video is that sign. Because right after this, you will enter the next chapter, where we reveal why Sagittarius never dies. They only reincarnate, stronger, more dangerous, and more necessary than ever for the evolution of all humanity. There is a truth not everyone is brave enough to admit. Freedom is something everyone desires, but very few can truly bear. Because true freedom is not about doing whatever you want. It is about daring to live true to your soul, even when that means being misunderstood, rejected, or hurt. And that is exactly what makes Sagittarius dangerous. In a world that is slowly shrinking the human spirit into the box of what's acceptable, within standardized moral codes, and fear of rejection or judgment, Sagittarius steps in like a wild wind carrying divine fire. They do not belong to any rules. They do not submit to any system that imprisons their will. They live, as if their soul came here only to remember one thing. Freedom is more sacred than life itself. And that is exactly what makes them a force that challenges all limits around them. No one can tie down a Sagittarius. They can love passionately, dedicate themselves wholeheartedly, but the moment you try to control them, you lose them forever. Not because they are selfish, but because they understand that love cannot coexist with imprisonment. They know that true connection can only exist when both are allowed to be themselves. I once met a Sagittarius, a young woman with eyes always gazing toward a faraway place that you couldn't name. She loved sincerely, listened deeply, but always kept an invisible distance. When I asked why, she simply smiled. Because everyone wants to keep me, but I'm not here to be kept. I came to awaken. And truly, everyone who met her changed. Not because she forced them to change, but because her free presence made them realize how long they had been living inside a golden cage, made of stability, expectations, and fear disguised as love. Perhaps you have met a Sagittarius like that. Someone who didn't give you answers, but made you ask questions you never dared to ask. Someone who didn't comfort you, but made you feel truly seen. Someone who may have left quickly, but whose presence lingers in you for life. The danger of Sagittarius does not come from malice. It comes from their raw, uncompromising truth. In a world where people increasingly avoid truth, avoid real emotions, avoid taking responsibility for their own lives, a Sagittarius steps forward and honestly says, "You are living against your soul." They don't do that to judge. They do it because they cannot stand seeing someone destroy themselves for the sake of pretending. They don't live to please others. They live to remain true to themselves, and if possible, to help you awaken too. And you will either love them for that, or resent them for that. But you will never forget them. Because they are the mirror, and when you look into it, you see that you have not yet truly lived. The freedom of Sagittarius is not only the right to travel, to move, to explore the outer world. It is the inner liberation. They are not easy to define. They can be a brilliant scholar and still speak like a child. They can teach you about the universe, then burst into laughter at a silly joke. They carry a soul that dances between intellect and instinct, both teacher and rebel. And because of that, Sagittarius is often misunderstood. They are seen as unstable, uncommitted, not deep. But what few people know is this. No one is more loyal than a Sagittarius when they are allowed to be themselves. No one dares to face another's darkness as directly as they do. And no one hurts more than they do when trapped in relationships that lack authenticity. I once witnessed a Sagittarius give up a stable career simply because he could no longer keep living a lie. He said, "Every day I stayed there, I felt my soul wither little by little." And he chose to start over, not out of selfishness, but out of honesty. That moment taught me a life lesson I carry to this day. Success is never worth it if it costs your inner freedom. That is what Sagittarius teaches us, not through theory, but through the way they live their lives. They remind us, we didn't come to this world to be right, we came to be real. And sometimes, in order to be ourselves, we must learn to let go of everything that doesn't belong to us. If a Sagittarius has ever left you, don't be too quick to think they didn't care. The truth is, they cared more about your soul than your temporary feelings. They leave to awaken you. They won't stay if their presence only feeds your illusions. They love you in the only way a free soul knows how, without condition, without control, without fear. And if you are a Sagittarius, please remember, this world needs you. Even if they don't yet understand you. Even if they are afraid of the truth you carry. Even if they are not ready for the light you shine. Do not shrink yourself. Do not bend your soul to fit someone else's mold. Because you, in all your wild and dangerous honesty, are a living symbol of an evolving society. We need more people who dare to live truthfully. Who dare to love without possession. Who dare to share without needing to be understood. Who dare to walk away, not to escape, but to find themselves again. And Sagittarius is the mirror of that. A free soul, undefeated, undefined, never dying. They only shift forms, to continue their sacred mission. To awaken the souls who have fallen asleep. If you've ever been inspired by a Sagittarius, comment. I am grateful for the free soul that entered my life. And if you are a Sagittarius hearing this, take a deep breath. And keep shining as brightly as you were born to. Because right after this, you will step into the next part, where we uncover the most magical truth. Why Sagittarius never dies. And why their immortality lies not in the body, but in the soul that leaves a mark on countless lives. They say, no one truly dies as long as their soul lives on in someone's memory. But Sagittarius goes far beyond that. They don't just live in memory. They live in transformation. They become the lessons, the turning points, the unforgettable glances. The moments after which you are no longer the person you were the day before. Sagittarius doesn't die, because they don't live in just one form. They are the soul of rebirth. They burn, they fade, then they return, unnoticed. But always right on time. As if the universe sends them, whenever someone needs a reminder that light still exists. I once witnessed a Sagittarius lose everything. Within a few months, she lost her job, her partner, and the trust of her family. Everything seemed to fall apart. She went silent, disappeared, and no one knew where she went. But then, a year later, she returned. No bitterness. No resentment. Only a smile and a strangely calm gaze. That's when I understood. She didn't come back as a victim. She came back as someone reborn. That's what Sagittarius does. They break, but don't collapse. They hurt, but don't let pain define them. They allow themselves to experience suffering truthfully. And then rise from it, not with anger, but with deep self-awareness. And I believe, that's the greatest lesson they teach us. You can lose everything on the outside, but you never truly lose yourself, if you still carry the light within. Sagittarius doesn't live by image or appearance. They live by spirit. By vision. By the relentless inner question. Who am I? Why did I come here? In this society, where success is often equated with titles, money, and status, Sagittarius reminds us that there's another kind of success. The kind where you don't lose yourself while chasing something outside of you. And the miracle is, after every fall, Sagittarius doesn't return as a patched-up version of their old self. They return as someone completely new, with wiser eyes, a more open heart, and a clearer mission. That's why they don't die, because they never stop evolving. While many around us still live old lives under new masks. Sagittarius is the living proof that we can be reborn, and still stay true to the essence of our soul. I remember once speaking with a Sagittarius who was at the lowest point in his life. He said something that left me speechless. I don't need everything to go back to how it was. I just need to know that this time, I'm living without fear. That wasn't the voice of someone trying to conquer the world. That was the voice of someone who had just conquered themselves. And I wonder, if all of us could live like that, what kind of world would this be? A world where people don't fear failure, don't fear pain, don't fear being left behind. But fear only one thing, not living true to the calling of their own soul. A world where falling is no longer an ending, but an invitation to enter a new chapter. A world where everyone is allowed to change, to be reborn, and to be welcomed back as the person they have become through their cracks. If you are a Sagittarius who has lost yourself somewhere along the way, then this is the call meant for you. Come home. Not home to the past, but home to the original fire, the fire that made you fall in love with truth. That made you dream big. That made you refuse to live halfway just because it's good enough. You may have been wounded, misunderstood, hurt by the very people you once loved. But that does not define you. What defines you is how you stood up again. And how you chose to forgive, to love again, to believe in something greater, one more time. If this touches you, comment. I was once broken, but I have returned, stronger and more honest than ever. Because sometimes, a comment is not just feedback. It's a testimony. A declaration that you are still here. Still moving forward. Still holding onto the light within you. And if you are not a Sagittarius, but a Sagittarius has helped you see the way, say thank you. They won't say it out loud, but they always feel alone. Because they see too much, feel too deeply, and love too honestly. Sometimes, they just need to know. Their light was not in vain. This world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs real people. People who dare to remove the armor, to live with their heart, to fall and rise. And if you are reading these words, then you are part of that world. Sagittarius never dies because they do not live by the body, but by the spiritual legacy they leave behind. A glance that wakes you up. A sentence that makes you rethink. A presence that makes you want to become the best version of yourself. And that is immortality. Right after this, we will step into the next part, where truth will be revealed. Why Sagittarius makes others fall into hell, not to punish, but to redeem. They are not the one who causes you pain, they are the one who shows you where you've been hurting for a very long time. No one wants to fall into hell. But sometimes, it is the darkest place that the soul must pass through, in order to be born again. And if there is someone who leads you through that harsh journey, chances are, that person is a Sagittarius. I know it sounds harsh. But not all light comes in gentle form. Some light comes from being forced to face the truth we've denied for far too long. Sagittarius doesn't come to make you feel comfortable. They come to awaken you. I once fell into hell because of a Sagittarius. That person didn't do anything wrong, they were simply living true to their soul. They simply said the truth I didn't want to hear. They simply lit up the exact wound I had tried to hide. And in that moment, I felt small, angry, shattered. But now, looking back, I know, that was the beginning of freedom. Because in that collapse, I had to look again. I had to ask questions. I had to peel off the layers I once thought were me. And I began to clearly see something I had never dared to touch. I wasn't living my own life. That's what Sagittarius does. They ignite the light of truth. And that light is not soft. It burns. It strips everything away. It leaves no room to escape. But after it all, it saves you. No one has taught me more about honesty than Sagittarius. They don't like sugar-coated words if they aren't real. They don't care whether you like them or not, they care whether you are living true to your soul. And because of that, they are often misunderstood. Labeled as cold. As ruthless. But deep down, I've come to see, no one loves your soul more than a Sagittarius. It's just that their love isn't the kind that's easy to swallow. It's the kind that changes you. I once heard a quote that brought tears to my eyes. Sagittarius doesn't save you by holding you. They save you by forcing you to see yourself. And that is the most powerful thing one soul can do for another. In this life, there are too many people who come to make you feel okay. But very few who come to awaken you. And when you are lucky enough to meet a Sagittarius, even just in passing, know this. It was not a coincidence. It was a divine appointment. Because your soul has been asking for awakening for a very long time. If you've ever been broken down by a Sagittarius, take a moment and ask yourself, what have you learned from it? Are you still the same person? Are you closer now to your truest self? And are you living more freely, more honestly, more authentically? And if the answer is yes, then you already know what truly happened. You didn't fall into hell. You walked through the gateway of rebirth. I have seen many people blame Sagittarius. They said, they hurt me, they left me, they were too blunt, they were unlike anyone else. But years later, when they had matured enough to look back, they said, thank you for not compromising that day. Thank you for forcing me to face myself. Sagittarius does not make you hurt to watch you collapse. They make you hurt because they believe you can rise. And not just rise, but become a stronger, wiser, and more radiant version of yourself. This world doesn't need more likable people. It needs more real ones. People who dare to speak the truth. Who dare to love from the soul. Who dare to awaken others, even when they are misunderstood for doing so. And Sagittarius is the kind of gift that isn't easy, but essential, that the universe sends us in our most lost moments. If you are in a dark phase, if you feel like someone has just destroyed your comfort zone, if you find yourself falling freely without any support, then maybe you are on the journey your soul has already chosen. Stop resisting. Let yourself fall, so you can realize that you can fly. And if you've ever had a Sagittarius make you look back at yourself, comment below. I am grateful for the awakening I've gone through. Not everyone has the chance to meet a soul like that. And if you did, it was a blessing, wrapped in the form of a challenge. Sagittarius is not simply a zodiac sign. They are a calling. A flame. An invitation. They are the bridge between who you were and who you were born to become. And whether they stay or leave, the light they carry continues to live within you. Every time you dare to live more truthfully, love more deeply, and walk toward your own truth. And right after this, we will step into the final part, where the true portrait of Sagittarius will be fully revealed. They are not just messengers. They are the living symbol of a divine destiny waiting for you to step into. It's time we see Sagittarius not just as a zodiac sign, not just as a wild soul, not just as someone who spreads light and truth. Sagittarius, at their deepest level, is the living embodiment of the sacred destiny that each of us was born to fulfill. In a world growing more chaotic, where people are losing faith in themselves, in the future, in love, or anything that belongs to the soul, the presence of a Sagittarius is like a bell ringing through the fog. They don't come to teach you how to live. They come to help you remember who you were, before the world made you forget. I once spoke with a Sagittarius man. He had no high degree, no big job, no glamorous social media. But every word he spoke felt like it touched the most tangled parts of me. When I asked where he got the strength to live with such awareness, he said, "I've always believed I was born to lead the way, not to blend in." That sentence stayed with me for years. Because it reminded me that some people are born not to live the life someone else drew for them, but to live like light. Not belonging to anyone, not imprisoned, not extinguished. And Sagittarius is exactly that light. In astrology, Sagittarius is the sign of philosophy, of cosmic truth, of truths that transcend religion or belief systems. They are the ones who step out of the mold to see something greater. Further, not just for themselves, but for the world. They are the ones who carry a spiritual compass within, always pointing toward the farthest horizon. Not to escape, but to connect. The connection Sagittarius brings doesn't come from physical closeness. It comes from resonance on a level of awareness. They could be on the other side of the world, but a single sentence they write, a single glance you once caught, could be enough to make you remember. You are not alone on your path to awakening. I believe that every Sagittarius, in one way or another, is the embodiment of a promise from the universe. A promise that there will always be someone who dares to be real. Dares to speak truth. Dares to burn illusions so you can see the way back to yourself. No one is perfect. But Sagittarius are the ones brave enough not to pretend to be. And I believe this too. If you are a Sagittarius listening to this, you are carrying a calling greater than you ever imagined. You may be doubting yourself, feeling out of place, or hurting because others don't understand you. But please remember, souls born to shine the way are always lonely at first. Because they go ahead. And light, even in silence, has the power to move an entire world in darkness. If you've ever felt lost on your life path, let the energy of Sagittarius remind you. You don't need all the answers. You just need to keep the inner flame alive. Keep going, step by step, through each experience, each lesson, because that journey is your mission. And sometimes, living true to your soul is already a revolutionary act. If you've ever been inspired by a Sagittarius to become braver, take a moment and thank them. They don't need to hear it. You just need to know that their light reached you, and that you are now carrying it forward into the world. In your own way. And if you are a Sagittarius, then this final message is for you. Never apologize for being too free. Never shrink just because someone finds you too intense. And never doubt the value of the truth you carry in your heart. You don't need to be like anyone else. You just need to be yourself, a Sagittarius who is honest, wild, and endlessly drawn to the light. If this resonates with you, comment. I am a light that cannot be extinguished. I am Sagittarius. Because when you affirm this, you are not only claiming your own truth. You are empowering all the souls out there who are learning to live honestly, boldly, and in service of something more sacred than themselves. And if this message holds meaning for you, please give it a like and share this video. Because who knows, your light might be the ray of hope someone needs in the darkness they're facing. Thank you for staying with me until this very moment. If you're still here, it means your soul has been listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart. And that is the most precious thing, in a world filled with noise. A moment of silence where we truly reconnect with the sacred essence within ourselves. Maybe you are a Sagittarius. Maybe you carry the energy of an awakening soul. Or maybe, you're simply walking the path of remembering your own truth. Whoever you are, believe this. Your presence here is not by accident. The universe never sends you to the wrong place, it's just that sometimes we must pass through layers of hell to find our inner heaven. Don't forget, you are not alone. The transformation you are going through is the response to the silent prayers you once sent into the void. Sagittarius, with their light and truth, may be the one who opens the door. But you are the one who walks through it. If this journey has touched you, leave a comment below. I am ready to live fully in the destiny of my soul. Because when you say that, you are not only declaring something to the world. You are calling out to your own soul in the most sacred language, honesty. If you feel this video has meaning, like it, share it, and send it to someone you love. Because sometimes, a single sentence, a single moment, is enough to help someone find their way back to themselves. And don't forget to follow the channel, because here, we don't just talk about astrology. We talk about life, about the journey of returning home, about the light that lives in every one of us. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring the mysteries of the universe, the soul, and of you. You are not just a tiny dot in the cosmos. You are the light the universe sent into this world. And I am truly grateful that you are here.